All right, hello everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the Target POS data breach in 2013. My name is Ryland Birchmeier. So we'll start with the initial access and Fazio. So Fazio is an HVAC and refrigeration company. They were contracted by Target, and they have been given access to contractor-only websites by Target for managerial purposes. These are websites that are not accessible to the public, only to people like Fazio who are doing work for Target. These are third-party to B2B website. And this proved to be a very volatile entry point into the Target network. This could be because the Target engineers didn't put as much thought into security for a website like this because it's not public facing. But in general, it was lacking, and the attackers saw this entry point and took advantage of it. If you were curious, the Fazio vans do look like this. I thought I'd bring this up as an interesting point of contention. I'm not sure how trustworthy a van like that could be. Just thought that'd be interesting. So September 2013, the Citadel Trojan. There was a phishing email sent to Fazio employee, and it was sent something that looks like this on the top right. That's not the exact one, but very close. And it got them to download the Citadel Trojan onto their machine. Now, if you're curious, the Citadel Trojan is very known for credential harvesting, primarily. So this includes keystroke logging, screenshot capture, video capture, and even one very famous one, man-in-the-browser attack. So I have an image on the right here. You'll see this is an actual website, US Bank, right? This kind of thing. But they have a fake form on top of it. And this is because the Citadel Trojan already has access to your machine, and so it can inject fake forms into the HTML, which when you put in the information, it sends it back to a remote server and compromises your passwords. So they successfully were able to steal the login credentials to the Target contractor website using this technique on the HVAC company Fazio. So now the attackers had a way to just log into this web server. But they still had to find vulnerabilities, and in November 2013, they're able to finally get arbitrary code execution within the Target network web server that was hosting this B2B website. And the way they were able to do this was, even though they had access to the website, of course, they still had not compromised the web server to gain access to the network. So they found a PHP file. They found that if they uploaded a PHP file, we're not exactly sure, 100%, but we think they found that if they uploaded a PHP file, they were able to use this technique called a file inclusion vulnerability. You can see on the right here in PHP, you can include a file conditionally. And so this can actually be set on the front end. So for example, let's say you're selecting a language on the front end. If you select a certain language, then it'll go and it'll get a PHP file that has that language in it. So you can imagine if this was not checked which language that you're setting, and you're able to upload a file that this PHP file had access to, then you can get it to run arbitrarily some random PHP file that you can upload. And you can see in the list of files that were released to the public after this data breach, you can actually see this one PHP file here, which was very suspicious. So this is the current running theory for how they were actually able to get arbitrary code execution within the Target network on the first web server. So you can see here they uploaded a file on the machine. Now, privilege escalation. So they only had access to this web server now. But of course, the rest of the network should be partitioned, right? Well, not as much as you would think. There was very little network segmentation within the Target network. So this made it extremely easy for the attackers to escalate their privileges and reach many more devices on the network. So as I said here, they have embarrassingly little network segmentation on the internal network. And beyond this, there were very weak passwords or even default passwords on many machines. And many systems even lacked the critical vulnerability patches. So they were within a mere 3 days at minimum, we believe, able to get complete access to the entire internal Target network. So this also gave them access to arbitrary code execution on every single Target point-of-sale device in the nation. And you can see down here on the right is a report from Verizon on just how weak their actual passwords were. Very sad. So installing malware. So once they get access to these point-of-sale machines or people put their credit cards in, how do they actually do it? So they used a program called Black POS, Black Point-of-Sale, memory scraping. And then it would phone home to a MERT server in Russia. So they installed this malware called Black POS. It scans memory, and it basically just uses regex for track 1 and track 2 financial data. You can see this here. This is a dump of memory, a small dump. And when it finds a match, it sends it to the compromised machine within the network, which then phones home to a server in Russia that's running an FTP server. So they have an internal service called FireEye, which actually did catch this, but they thought it was a false alarm, unfortunately. So they did not end up fixing this before the Department of Justice notified them. In total, there were 40 million credit card numbers about stolen, and it only resulted in an $18.5 million lawsuit, which is comically low for the amount of damage it caused. And overall, like I said, 40 million credit card numbers and about 70 million records of non-financial customer data were actually also stolen. They had a little side quest with Microsoft SQL Server as well, it seems. And $18.5 million lawsuit, even though it's class action, only results in about 46 cents per stolen credit card number. And then overall, EMV credit card systems are improving this process significantly. So even if a system were to be compromised, it would be much harder to get a memory dump now. So systems overall nowadays are much more resilient than the target system, even if they are, God forbid, poorly designed. Here are the sources, and Fiend, thank you.